While being one of the most played killers in Dead by Daylight, Legion presents many points of frustration for both the survivors that face them and the killers that enjoy playing as them. In fact, survivors complain about mending being a boring mechanic, while for the killer players, their kit feels underwhelming once they start facing competent survivors, encouraging a very restrictive choice of perks and playstyles if you want to feel like having any control over the match at all. The peculiarity of Legion's power, guaranteed detection and injury, feels overpowering for new survivors, who will feel the need to spend more time healing on top of the forced mending, while being almost useless against experienced survivors who can consistently keep good positioning and don't care about staying injured the entire match. No matter if they're going for chain hits, kills or chases, Legion seems to fall short just enough in every aspect, leading many players to picking multiple slowdowns and double chain hit add-ons in order to have enough game time and space of maneuver to enjoy the killer power consistently. On the other side, survivors know that if the Legion is experienced, they will not use the time granted by the slowdowns and mending to finish chases, but instead to deplete resources and create dead zones where they can push survivors later on, making the game quite scripted. The purpose of this rework is to make multiple perks, add-ons and playstyle viable for the Legion, while keeping the agility and versatility of their kit and addressing the points of frustration for survivors facing them, allowing Legion to be a viable and fun choice across the board. Nerf. Self-mending after a Feral Frenzy hit takes 10 seconds by default, was 12 seconds. Altruistic mending after a Feral Frenzy hit takes 6 seconds by default, was 8 seconds. We hope these changes will make the Legion less frustrating to play against for survivors of all experience level, and may provide for cheeky plays from both the Legion or the survivors when grouping up for a fast mend is a choice. Self-mending from being hit with a basic attack while having endurance retains the old values. Buff. Feral Frenzy starting speed is now 5.8 meters per second, was 5.2 meters per second. With the many rush killers being in the game without breaking it, we thought Feral Frenzy speed retained very conservative numbers for a power that is only a threat if survivors misplay and, even in that case, very rarely achieves lethality. We hope this base kit buff will make the Legion less map and add-on dependent. This will make chaining hits a possibility even on bigger maps, while keeping the Legion at a speed that can still be countered by survivors correctly spreading out. Since the threat of a 5th hit is now more tangible, survivors will be encouraged to engage in more interactive counterplay, such as locker jukes and pallet plays instead of just holding W. We hope this will make the Legion feel in control of a bigger part of the map, making creating dead zones and pushing survivors into them less of a necessity. 5th hits are not meant to be a frequent occurrence in Legion gameplays, and due to the add-on nerfs you will see later on, we are confident this buff will make them more consistent no matter which add-ons are in play, but not guaranteed at all. Buff. During Feral Frenzy, your action speed for breaking breakable walls, damaging generators, searching lockers, and snuffing boon totems is increased by 30%. The power gauge depletion pauses while performing these actions. In order to avoid action spamming to pause Feral Frenzy indefinitely, a buffer time of 1 second is required between actions performed in Feral Frenzy. This is the effect of Old Frank's mixtape and impacts the game more as a fun quality of life addition. We decided to make it base kit because it makes the killer feel more agile without providing a significant buff to their kit. Buff. During fatigue, the Legion movement speed is now 2.4 meters per second, was 2.07, bringing it more in line with other killers. This is still way slower than the Huntress after throwing a hatchet, a nurse holding a blink, a hillbilly revving his chainsaw, or a doctor charging shock therapy. Rework. Oblivious survivors are now considered to be inside the terror radius for the purpose of detection through Killer Instinct. If the Legion is undetectable, it will instead receive no Killer Instinct feedback, having no terror radius. So this mixtape will still allow for 20 meters detection radius around the Legion, even while undetectable. We hope this will make a variety of stealth perks viable on Legion, allowing for different playstyles and more varied experience for both the killer and the survivors. Quality of life. There is now no buffer time between dropping an action and start mending for survivor. Since 99ing your mend while the killer is in Feral Frenzy is a powerful Legion counter, we want to reward survivors for good plays and avoid situations in which a slight miscalculation will not allow them to resume their correctly 99 mending and put them in a dying state instead as they try to switch action, for example after leaving a generator. Quality of life. After chaining your 4th hit, the Legion will receive an audio cue signaling that their next chain hit is an insta-down. This will enhance the sound of the mixtapes you have equipped at the moment, will be heard by survivors, and yes, It's customized for all combinations. We implemented this change after consulting neurodivergent Legion players in the DHD spectrum, but we are confident it will be helpful and pleasant for everyone else too, including new players on both sides. Quality of life. New score events have been granted to actions performed while in Feral Frenzy. Aligning the BP is awarded for using your power with the other killers. Vaulting windows or pallets while in Feral Frenzy guarantees plus 100 block points. Downing a survivor with Feral Frenzy guarantees plus 500 block points. Quality of life. Perks affecting window vaults now will work during a Feral Vault, applying the related effect to the Legion or the survivor. This was a very unfortunate choice, and we are very happy to revert it and give the Legion more chase perk to pick from. Quality of life. The Legion can now see blood pools and scratch marks while in Feral Frenzy. While this effect was implemented to prevent unfun playstyles when Feral Frenzy was a little power, that time has long passed and there is no reason to deny Legion players this tracking tool. Quality of life. After ending Feral Frenzy by any means, the Legion camera movement is not restricted to lateral only anymore, allowing the player to fully pan their camera around. The reduced vision as effects around the screen remains unchanged, allowing survivor to try a stealth play. Quality of life. If the Legion has not hit a survivor with Feral Slash in at least 1.5 seconds, ending their power by any means will result in the Legion immediately gaining full collision. While Legion has no anti-loop mechanism by design, and we strive to keep it that way, the inconsistency in their collision while switching in and out of power led to frustration on both sides. We decided to give it a precise timing, allowing for engaging plays on both sides. Quality of life. Joy now finally has a surname. Quality of life. Joy and Susie have been provided with unique voice lines. Bug fix. The clipping and texturing issues present in many of Legion cosmetics have been fixed. You can now wear your favorite fit without having to look at badly rendered hands, having your vision obstructed by the hoods, or knowing survivors can see the writing on your back is stretched weirdly. Bug fix. Blinding the Legion while they start their Feral Frenzy will not result anymore in the killer being in the wrong animation and a non-lethal state for the rest of the trial. Bug fix. Vaulting some of the shock windows in Feral Frenzy while playing at 120 FPS will not result anymore in Legion being stuck in place. Following these changes and with improved variety in mind, an add-on pass was in order. While we deemed some of Legion add-ons to be fit for these goals, we decided to make changes to the following add-ons. Mischief List. Nerf. Extends the duration of Feral Frenzy by plus 1 second, was 2 seconds. New rarity, yellow. Since we buffed Feral Frenzy's base speed, we deem extra duration to be unnecessary for Legion's power to feel satisfying and effective to use, and plus 2 full seconds to be an overbuff to the killer's kit. This prompted us to nerf this add-on and move it up a tier. Deface Smiley Pin. Old effect. Survivors suffer from the mangle status effect for 60 seconds after mending themselves. New effect. Survivors hit with a Feral Slash suffer from the exhausted status effect for 6 seconds. While Legion has no anti-loop by design, this add-on will make committing to chases at any point of the game more viable against survivors of all experience level. Julie's Mixtape. Buff. Instantly recharges Feral Frenzy after being stunned by any means. Was only one in Feral Frenzy. We changed this add-on to be more in line with the Spirit add-on Uchiwa. The one is a green, but since Frenzy is a way less threatening power than Yamaoka's hunting, this seems a more adequate placement. Never Sleep Pills. Extends the duration of Feral Frenzy by plus 10 seconds. Reduces the starting movement speed of Feral Frenzy to 4.6 meters per second. Grants a stackable plus 100 bonus block points for successful Feral Slashes, up to a maximum of plus 500. Buff. Increases the stackable movement speed boost gained from chain Feral Slashes to 0.03 meters per second, up to a maximum of plus 1.2 meters per second. New rarity, brown. After the Feral Frenzy base speed buff, this is even more clearly a meme add-on, making Legion sacrifice a now hugely versatile base speed for an almost guaranteed 50. In order to make it feel better to play, we gave it the effect of Old Mura Sketch, which it was already run with in most cases, and gave it a new lower rarity in line with meme add-ons for other killers. Mura Sketch. Since we buffed Feral Frenzy base speed, we decided to rework the add-on and give it a completely new effect. Old effect. Increases the stackable movement speed boost gained from chained Feral Slashes to 0.3 meters per second, up to a maximum of plus 1.2 meters per second. New effect. Your terror radius and red stain are suppressed during the last 3 seconds of your Feral Frenzy. We wanted to let Legion players capitalize on their survivor-like appearance while avoiding making them harder to face for beginners and solo queue, so we chose instead an effect that can be easily countered by aware survivors whether on comms or not, while still allowing for stealth plays from a Legion with good game sense. Joy's Mixtape. Buff. Survivors suffer from the mangle and hemorrhage status effect until fully healed after mending themselves. was hemorrhage only. While this brings Joy's mixtape in line with the recent concept of having both the mangled and hemorrhage status effect combined into a single add-on for all recently released killers, we chose to keep these of green variety instead of purple, since experienced survivors will already choose not to heal against Legion, making its effect null, and it is counterable by altruistic mending across the board. Filthy Blade. Old effect. Increases the mending time of survivors by plus 4 seconds. New effect. Vaulting a window while in Feral Frenzy blocks the vault for all survivors for 8 seconds. Only one window can be blocked by this add-on at any given moment. We hear you, and we don't want you to spend 16-second mending ever again. Stab Wound Study. Buff. The auras of survivors are revealed to you for 5 seconds after they mend themselves, was 4 seconds. Even if it seems a small buff, 1 more second of aura reading will make this add-on viable even without the perk Leader Pursuer, allowing for more variety in the mix and match on Legion's builds. The 7-second aura reading this will grant with Leader Pursuer is in line with other add-ons and not overly punishing for survivors. Frank's Mixtape. Old effect. During Feral Frenzy, you benefit from the following effects. Pauses the power gauge depletion while performing the break your damage action. Increases the action speed of damaging generators by 20%. Increases the action speed of breaking breakable walls by 30%. New effect. During Feral Frenzy, your action speed for breaking breakable walls, damaging generator, searching lockers, snuffing Boon Totem is increased by 60% instead of the base kit 30%. This brings the add-on more in line for variety and effect with Wraith's Shadow Dance, another action speed add-on that only works during a non-lethal state of the killer. Anyway, hey, it's Rogue. I'm a P100 Legion who has mained this killer since when I started playing Dead by Daylight, and after 2000 hours, still enjoys them thoroughly. Legion has not received any significant change since their rework in 2021, and they're struggling to keep up with DBD modern design. Let me know what you think of this rework, what you will change, what your major points of frustration when playing as or against Legion are, and if you work a behavior, please feel free to take any of this into consideration if you see fit.